In the heart of Tampa, where the rivers flow, underneath the bright lights, we gather, we glow. With the sound of the crowd, cheers echo and rise. The lightning strikes again, bringing fire to the skies. Players on the ice, skating with pride, a legacy of heroes, we stand side by side. Lightning strikes again, feel the energy burst. From the first drop of the puck, we know we're immersed. And we are the champions, together we'll fight. With every single goal, we reach for the light. We want the cup, we'll never back down. Lightning in our hearts, we're Tampa Bay bound. Through the highs and the lows, we've danced in the rain. With every heartbeat, we rise up again. The echoes of victory, stories to tell. In the streets of the city, you can hear the bells. Nostalgia surrounds us, we remember each play. With history in making, we pave our own way. Lightning strikes again, feel the energy burst. From the first drop of the puck, we know we're immersed. We are the champions, together we'll fight. With every single goal, we reach for the light. We want the cup, we'll never back down. Lightning in our hearts, we're Tampa Bay bound.
Welcome to the Thunder. There's the right sound effect. I'm Shooter.
Wow, that's a nice shooter.
And we got Mr. Thomas Schooley. That's the right sound effect for him. You know I'm right. It's cracking me up already in the chat. It's not a theme song. I didn't even warn Thomas Schooley. That's what kind of.
No, I was trying to figure out what it was.
In the background. So this guy's been posting in your group, Thunderbolts and other groups. He's been making these lightning songs the last week, and this is the newest one that just dropped 40 minutes ago. And he said I could use the songs. And anyone that's been watching this show long enough knows we've had trouble with music that should not be flagged because we've found music that's royalty free, or the thunder and lightning sound effects that we get flagged for. So we got his permission to use it. I don't think this song's gonna get flagged. It is not really my style, but nice job there. That is, if you want to check out the rest of the songs, Live the #2 Win on YouTube, and I think it's a guy named Mark who's been posting those. And if you go on Facebook, he's been posting these songs. So there's a Kucherov one we'll play next week. Playoffs are almost here, Thomas Schooley. We've got one more game, just a formality. The team is up in New York City to play the Rangers tomorrow night. We know who we're playing in the playoffs, the Florida Panthers again, the champs. And we've got a really great guest jumping on to talk who knows quite a bit about both the Bolts and those down south kitty cats. So, Schooley, let's bring them on. Hold on. Producer and host. There we go. Rod Peterson, welcome to We the Thunder. Listen, we like to give you a little thunder clap when you join the show. Is it storming down are you in South Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Boca Raton, 21 miles from the rink in Sunrise, gentlemen. That song was unbelievable. I don't care what this hater is saying in your comment section. That song was unbelievable, guys.
It seems like a legit, well-produced song.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was pretty good, and I was like, where the hell did this come from?
There's some other ones too. As long as he says okay, I'm gonna play them. Hey, if somebody's making music about the team, why not? Right? There's nobody else making songs about this team. So thank you, Mark, for donating that song. I don't know if we didn't get permission for the new one, but he kind of hinted towards we could use any of them. All right, Rod, give us some background about you and your podcast as well. Do you just have one podcast, or you have a couple different shows?
Well, this one, the Panthers one, I do a daily talk show in Canada out of Florida. They didn't want me to have any palm trees in the background or anything because it's on Canadian television. So I do it from this studio. But a couple years ago, my wife and I've been living here for 4 years. I married an American gal, and we wanted to do a show strictly on Florida NHL hockey. And our viewers in Canada weren't that down with it. So like, let's just start our own podcast. And that's where the whole idea of Cats and Bolts came from. We were driving across Western Canada in the summertime and we launched it, and it's gone really well. The Panthers have been unbelievable to deal with. The Lightning have been really good too. I'm planning to come out there this weekend for at least game one. And that's where it started. And guys, I don't know about you and the Tampa hockey community, but here, you ask any Panthers alum, can you come down to the studio? When and where? So we've had a ton of the guys come into the studio. They've been unreal because there hasn't been a lot of media coverage of the Panthers.
Yeah, we've had the same blessings. We've had two guys from the '04 Cup run on this season. Chris Dingman a couple weeks ago, and then we also had a real classic, Andre Waugh, right before the end of the year, who's podcast gold. So yeah, that's the nice thing about Florida hockey. It still seems to be this kind of smaller community, and you seem to kind of have access to players. And we have a lot of guys from the media that jump on, and Dave Randorf from FanDuel Sports has been on the show a few times. So yeah, we feel really blessed that people kind of embrace this platform to be able to talk and have these conversations with the fans. That's kind of the idea of this show. Is we're fans and we want to kind of be an extension of the other Bolts fans that are out there. But man, talk about timing with both you guys and us. There's been no better time to start a podcast about Florida hockey teams, because has there been another team representing the East in the Stanley Cup Finals this decade?
No, and 4 years ago when I came here, I remember it very clearly. The rink was empty. At that time, it was BB&T Center. No, it was FLA Live Arena, and it was empty. They were just starting that climb. So now these Panthers fans are saying to me, I don't know about what you guys get, but they're like, you weren't here in the bad times. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's not really my fault. It's been nothing but great for us since we've been talking Florida hockey here. And I'm with you. I feel like we're getting in at the good time. But I mean, you're strictly Lightning. We call ourselves the Cats and Bolts. And I don't like when the two teams play each other, not in the regular season. I don't like it in the playoffs for a variety of reasons that we can get into. It's good for business. Don't get me wrong. But pretty soon these teams are going to start hating each other in the fan bases. I would think, and I don't really like negativity, but that's where it kind of feels like it's going.
Well, it's definitely become the rivalry with these teams now meeting, it seems like, every year in the playoffs. So it's exciting that we get to do it again. And it seems like when these teams meet in the playoffs, the winner goes on to win the Stanley Cup. So maybe that's what happens this year. But I do have a lot of questions surrounding the Florida Panthers right now. They haven't been playing their best hockey. They've had a lot of guys out with injuries. Barkov's been out. Kachuk's pretty much been out since the Four Nations. You had Ekblad, who wasn't injured, but he had the suspension. We saw a lot of guys sit last night, which, by the way, the Lightning, for anyone that did not watch, played the Panthers at home and beat them in pretty good fashion last night. But like I said, a lot of the stars were not there. Bobrovsky didn't play in net. But what is the story? What do you know about this team? Are there actual injuries, you think? Are they resting? Is it a combination of both? Can we expect the defending champs to take the ice on, we're projecting Sundays, probably game one?
Well,
You're going to go ahead.
Eggplant can't come back until game 3. That's when he will be back. So we won't see him. We'll see Barkov, Bobrovsky, and all those. Kachuk's obviously coming back, but Eggplant cannot come back until game 3 is the earliest he can come back.
And who knows what this series is going to be by then, right? But it's funny. Just Stephanie writes in and says there's plenty of animosity between the fan bases. I'm sure there is, but last year after game 4 in Amalie Arena, I was leaving the rink with a Panthers fan buddy of mine and some Lightning fans turned. We were wearing Panthers stuff, and they said, "Good luck next round." Even though we're still coming back here for Game 5, I'm like, "Oh my God, we would not hear that in Alberta. We wouldn't hear that in Ontario." That's because I'm Canadian by passport, by citizenship. But anyways, you're going to see, I fully believe, an entirely different Florida Panthers team come Game 1 and for this series than not only what you saw last night. That was a terrible game from a Panthers perspective. I don't know if you guys were there or not, but Emily Kaplan of ESPN. Okay, so you wouldn't have seen the interview of Emily Kaplan on ESPN interviewing Paul Maurice in the first time out in the first period. She's like, "Coach, you're resting some guys. You didn't really bring a full lineup." He's like, "Well, I wouldn't say that we're resting guys." I'm like, "What would you call it, Paul?" That was not the Florida Panthers last night. So you're going to have Tkachuk for Game 1. As Schooley said, you're going to have Bob in goal. And like Matthew Tkachuk, we had a watch party of our own about a month ago. I know that's a sore subject with some people, watch parties. But one lady I was sitting beside said to me, she was, "The Panthers seem to have lost their edge from last year. They're not the same team." And I'm like, that's Tkachuk. He hasn't played since the Four Nations face-off. He's the sandpaper. And Sam Bennett, they say, is the soul of the team. They haven't been playing the way they played last year, but I do believe they can get back to that, and Tkachuk will be lighting the dynamite on that, I think, in this series.
Yeah.
And in fairness, what we saw last night, too, from the Lightning, we don't have the luxury because of salary cap issues. We don't have the LTIR money like Panthers have right now, so we couldn't sit anybody last night. But there was no player on the Lightning lineup that played over 20 minutes last night. So we also did not see the full Lightning potential. You saw a couple different matchups and pairings that you probably will not see in the playoffs. And I think Coop did a great job with unable, even with the Chafee injury last night, there still did not have any player over 20 minutes of play. So it was good to see Coop holding that back too and spreading it around. I think everybody just about had 17 to 19, whether it is offense or the defense. They were 17 to 19 minutes of playing time last night.
Yeah. And, the other thing is with the Lightning, we've seen this for a few years now, not as much this year, but as they get to kind of these last 10 games of the season, and even maybe even a little bit before that, 15, 20 games with the Lightning have been in good shape going into the playoffs, you see them kind of take their foot off the pedal a little bit because they're really just waiting for the playoffs. And I feel like the Panthers, they've been to back-to-back cups now. They're kind of at that level too. I think they're just probably ready to get onto this second season. So I was joking around with the buddy that I went to the game with that, the game we see next week is not going to be anything like the game we saw tonight. So it was fun. It was fun last night, but the second season is here, and both these teams are heavyweights, and either one of them can go on and win the cup. And I think it's going to be survival of the fittest in the East and who survives some of these first round matchups.
Always is. But I guys, I love the opportunity to talk with you, by the way, on this. We did do our Cats and Bolts podcast this afternoon, and I would be interested in your perspective. When you look at these two rosters, clearly Tampa Bay is better this year than last year. They had a better record, slightly different lineup. How on earth did that series end in 5 games last year? When you look at how strong Tampa Bay is. Florida went on to win the Stanley Cup, but the Lightning barely put up a fight. And I think more people are going to pick the Lightning to win this series than will pick Florida. I've got Florida in 7, but I live here. I think it's going to be a long series. How the hell did that one go so short last year?
I don't know. This year's Lightning team, I think, is much better. They've got more depth this year. You take away Stamkos, you add a Gensel in that lineup, so you have much better two-way player. And Gensel, by the way, can score some goals in the power play, we found out too. So I just think the team overall is better this year. They've got more scoring depth. The defense has more depth, which is going to be tested now I guess Radish came back. But I do think they're better than last year. And then the other thing that happened last season was Sergachev got knocked out for those games, and the only game they won, if I remember correctly, was the game Sergachev came back for miraculously, and we didn't know if he was even going to come back to play in the playoffs or that series at all. And I don't know if that was just an emotional boost for the team to win that game, which I think was game 5. But I think the team's more deep this year. So I think they're going to give the Panthers a run for their money. And then you also have to take into effect that what we've seen in Tampa is, hey, when you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals 2-3 years in a row, that affects these core players that are playing X amount more games than anyone else. So it's actually kind of been a benefit to, I think, the Stars of the Lightning to not have some of those deep runs, being knocked out in the first round in the last 2 years. I think they've got more stamina and are ready to play. Plus, you mix in some guys that haven't been there before. We've got guys on this roster, and I'm kind of scared of this because I don't know if they're playoff players yet, but there's guys that have never played a playoff game, veterans on this team, like Jurgensen. He spent all that time up in Buffalo, and he's about to play his very first playoff game. So we've got some other guys.
You gotta also remember last year, Vasi started on the IR. He had surgery. He did not play the first half. Towards the end of that season, it still did not look like he was comfortable within the net. And everybody, I think if you go back to any of our shows or really anything, Vasi just wasn't Vasi-like, what people were saying. And then it was commented here, we built this year for 5-on-5 hockey rather than power play hockey, where we spent so much time on our power play before with Stamkos. Now Stamkos leaves. They get Jake Getzel, who comes in here. And the emergence of Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli, who last year were roommates and now have come out this year and gotten their own place away from each other, but yet they still seem like they know where each other is. And it's just really worked with those two on the same line. And Jake has really, really fit in with someone like Kucherov and Braden Point. They always seem to all three know where they're at. And then just now from the trade deadline, Yanni Gourde being back. I think yesterday's game, even though it was the Cats B squad, I think yesterday was an emergence of Yanni Gourde, something he needed going into this playoffs, because I really think he had one of the best games he has played here since he won the Stanley Cup here before he left to Seattle. So I think that's something that the Cats didn't play their A game last night, but I think they might have woken up a playoff Yanni Gourde in a sense of he ran wild on that ice last night. So it's going to be interesting. And of course, we have the injury going in with Bjorkstad, who seemed to be fitting in with this system right before the playoffs started, got injury. Now there's no timetable if he'll even be back for the first round. But I think it's two totally different looks from both sides of the Panthers and the Lightning. And it's always a great rivalry having Bobrovsky against Vasilevsky, who I think is two of the best Russian goaltenders that will go down as ever played.
Well, let me ask both of you guys, if we just kind of go down the list of what we look at when we look at hockey teams, who do you guys give the advantage to? So, let's start with the offense, the forwards. And I'll let you go first, Rod. What team do you give the advantage to?
It's Tampa Bay. And I've noticed this all season. Tampa Bay they're a more exciting team to watch. Even Panthers fans would have to agree with that. Kucherov is having an all-world season. Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, I've been watching since junior. Gensel's having a career year. Right, it's Tampa. That's not taking anything away from the Panthers. Barkov is Barkov. You've seen the numbers, Reinhart. They're the usual suspects too, but they're not as flashy. And the Lightning have scored the most goals of anybody in the NHL. So it's Tampa. I don't think anybody can argue that.
Stephanie said it right. 7 players with at least 20 goals, and Bjorkstrand was just right on the cusp of getting to 20 as well.
No, he
Schooley.
did. He got it.
Oh,
He
he
got
did.
it. Bjork
That's right.
got it before he got injured.
Yeah.
He became
So
the seventh.
So you'd agree with that too, right, Schooley? It's you got to go give that offense of those forwards the advantage has got to be Tampa. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think game 1 and 2, the Lightning really need to pounce on that because you've had the Kachuk who's been out since the Four Nations. You've had Barkov out. You have all these players that are out right now and haven't played for a while with each other. And I think the Lightning, and they've been so dominant at home this season that I think game 1 and 2, the Lightning have got to shoot out of the rocket and just go balls to the wall and get ahead 2-0 because this could be another game, a new series going down to Sunrise after game 2.
Yeah, those first 2 games will be big. All right, so what about defense then? What do you guys think on defense? Who gets the advantage, Rod?
Well, any team with Victor Hedman on the blue line would get the edge. No, you don't think so, Schooley? Shaking your head. I'm not. Hey, can I say from game 3 on, it's Florida when they get Aaron Ekblad back? Seth Jones has been unbelievable since they got him from Chicago. He's played 30 minutes one night. So when they have a full deck, I will say Florida.
Yeah, I would go with Florida too.
Yeah. Okay.
I will go Florida. You got an agent, Victor Hedman. You have a young Emil Lilleberg who just scored his first goal this season. You have a younger JJ Moser who didn't really see any kind of playoffs in the Coyotes days. It's I think the advantage on the blue line goes to Florida.
So we all agree on that one too. All right, here's a tough one. Goaltending. Both, in my eyes, top 3, I guess top 5 goaltenders in the NHL. I have to go Vasi just because I'm a Lightning fan, and the second half of the season that he's had has been better than any other goalie, including Hellebuck, even though Hellebuck's still going to win the Vezina. I got to say Vasi, even though I am pretty torn on that because the Lightning do make bad goalies look good and good goalies look great. So we tend to sometimes not be able to hit the back of the net and make these goalies look really good. But what do you guys think as far as goaltending goes? Bob or Vasi?
Go ahead, Schooley.
Vasi. I think Vasi. Vasi all day long. Only Bobrovsky, I think, has the edge on the career and stuff, but I think Vasi has the edge on still being able to see the puck. And Vasi always seems to do good against goalies that are Russian. Shesterkin, Bobrovsky. And I think there's always been that heated thing since Bobrovsky was with Columbus and swept us after winning the President's Trophy, that Vasi's always wanted to be Bobrovsky every chance he can. And I think this is no different. I think Vasi pulls it out.
The 2 Tampa guys say Vasilevsky. Okay, got it.
Shocker.
So guess what I'm going to say, Bob? But I love Bob. I love him. And I was a goalie. I'm a goalie guy. I love them both. But you guys can't forget game 2 last year. The Hasek-like rolling on your back, robbing Matt Dumba, saved the game and probably the series. And but listen, I got to give Vasilevsky a lot of credit because at the first half of the season, I was writing him off. I'm like, he's not the same guy. He's over the hill. He's done. And look what he's done. Like the whole team completely flipped the script in the second half. But Bob was rewriting the record book. I think he had 8 shutouts. It's like every other night, Bob was getting a shutout this year. Here's the thing about winning, and you guys have done enough of it in Tampa Bay. It's not like you win a Stanley Cup or a championship and go, we're good. Right? You think it's yours, right? Like you think you own it, and that's the way Bob's going to play in the playoffs. And they listen. I do believe Florida plays a better defensive style than Tampa does. I will take Bob in a game 7. I'll take Bob in a series. I'm a Bob guy.
Yeah, I can't blame you for being a Bob guy. Pretty good goalie, and the Lightning have beat him in series before, but he's beat the Lightning as well. So I think a lot of that's going to come down to how well the teams play in front of them, and who gives up less of those high risk chances. And you just gave me flashbacks to my nightmares last year
Sorry.
with that Dumba shot.
That was something.
Yeah, I blocked that out of my mind until you just brought it up again. So thanks for that flashback. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And again, that goes back to like the team that wins this series could go to the finals. Some of these teams like Toronto don't have a established goalie. Now they've got that 1A 1B combo that is doing well for them, but they're not proven. These guys haven't really done much in the playoffs, and both these goalies in this series have.
I know we're gonna be letting Rod go here shortly, but I want to get your opinion. Something that was posted today in Thunderbolts is: do you like this playoff system better than the old format where one win against 8, 2 win against 7? Because, like someone pointed out, these are two great teams. One of them's going to be eliminated in round 1. And I like the old format better than this one also. I'd rather be playing, right now, I think we would get 4 seed, maybe 5 seed in the 1 through 8. What do you guys feel? Do you like this against the wild cards, or would you rather seed them 1 through 8?
Go ahead, Shooter.
So I was looking at this last night, actually, Thomas. Lightning right now are in the 3 seed in the East. That means they would be playing the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
And you'd have the Panthers playing the Hurricanes. A lot of fans are split on this. Some like kind of these rivalries that are being built, like with, we never played the Panthers in the playoffs before a couple of years ago, and now we're at our 4th time now in 5 years.
Since 2020, no two teams have played each other more than Tampa and Florida. There's been no other matchups of any two teams except for these two, regular season and postseason, that have played each other since 2020. 28 times, I think it is, 28 games that we have played each other.
Well, and some would say you can't even really call it a rivalry unless they're playing each other in playoffs. So I can see that side of it. You can say the same thing about Tampa, Toronto, because we've met in the playoffs several times now. So I get people's point of view with that. I still want to see the 1 through 8. I don't want to see the Panthers every time. I'd like to see the Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals if it shook out that way. So I'm old school. I go 1 through 8 still, but I don't think they're switching back.
Well, if you want to go really old school, don't know how long you've been following this, but I mean, in the 80s, 70s, 80s, they had it broken up by division, and there was no wild card,
Right.
So that's real old school. And under that format, there would be teams making the playoffs this year that didn't. The Flames would be in the playoffs this year under the old format. But, Shooter, the hockey people that I've talked to agree with you. I'm talking about the people in the league. They want 1 versus 8. But the marketing business people in the NHL office, I think, like it the way that it is. And I write a column in the South Florida Tribune. I just wrote about this last week. They brought in the wild card formula in 2014. So it was the top 4 in each division for years until the teams complained and said, we don't have the best teams in. So it changed to this. They want the geographic rivalries. That's why they do it. And it's what builds rivalries. You guys tell me, has this Tampa, Florida thing 4 times in 5 years helped hockey? It hasn't hurt. I think it's helped. This is exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it'll change.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a pretty marketable series, right? You've got the Sunshine Showdown, whatever they're called, the Battle of Florida, and then you got the Battle of Ontario on the other side of things, and the winners are going to play each other. So like I get both sides of it. I just don't want to play the same two teams every year. And I guess we won't. Eventually, someday, maybe the Lightning won't make the playoffs. I don't remember those days.
Well,
But it will happen someday. And also someday teams like the Detroit Red Wings are going to make their way back into the playoffs. So it won't always be these same teams, but it's kind of tough because it seems like it's been the same teams for the last 5 years.
I thought Detroit was going to get in this year. I really did. They probably the biggest disappointment in the NHL this year, save for Nashville. But I'll leave you with this. If I gotta go, the Lightning have always been big brother forever, right? In this state when it comes to the two teams. And last year I was going with a buddy to the playoff games, and we were looking around, talking about round one, with the Go Bolt signs, and every office, every restaurant in downtown Tampa's got Go Lightnings, and that's not just for the playoffs. You got it up all winter, maybe year round, right? And we're going, whoa, we got a ways to go. As a hockey town in South Florida, it's got a hell of a lot better. But Tampa Bay is what South Florida's aspired to be as a hockey market. It's very impressive. Let's put it that way. I want to get that out here tonight on your show.
Yeah. And
listen, I was down there a couple weeks ago for the Lightning playing down there, and I'll tell you what, that sound system you guys got in that building makes you move out of your seat. And I remember I used to tell people when I brought them to their first Lightning game, our old sound system used to kind of do that. And it vibrates your seat to get out of it. And the people I was with is like, it's never this loud at Amalie. And I was like, oh, no, that ain't the crowd. You look at the crowd, they're sitting on their hands. It's the sound system. It's like once the fans get more and more involved into it, and then I think it will be, equivalent to what you see here at Amalie Arena. But I remember, and Shooter can say it too, we remember times at Amalie where you'd be lucky, to be outnumbering the visiting team. Back before Mr. Vinnick bought it, when we sucked, you would see more of Maple Leafs fans. Now it's about 50-50 because it is Florida and we still get a lot of those Canadians, but you would be outnumbered big time. And so, and you see that right now. I think, the pictures that came out, I think it was when Toronto played Florida, where half the arena was empty down there. We used to see that here. So it's growing down there.
Yeah, well, that came up today on our show because I know the guy that posted that photo. He was literally trolling. He's from the Hockey News in Toronto. Look at the clock. It was 23 seconds into the first period. There was flooding that night, a shit show getting into the parking lot. It was not fair. It was a cheap shot. It sent Panthers fans over the edge. And then actually a guy wrote in today to my show and he goes, what's it going to take for us to be taken seriously by the Canadian media? I said, who cares? You never will. As long as they're taking cheap shots like that, they're just jealous that the Stanley Cup's here every year. Trust me, I know.
Listen, not getting Marchand didn't help take you guys serious. I can tell you that.
all right, Rod, I know you got to go. I got two questions for you.
Yep.
Where can the people go follow you and see Cats and Bolts podcast? And I think you mentioned it before, but what is that final prediction for this series?
I said Panthers in 7. Don't hate me. And you can follow at Rod Peterson. That will get you to my daytime television show, which also airs on YouTube, and the Cats and Bolts podcast. I appreciate you guys so much. This has been fun. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping on, and good luck to our little brothers down there. If we lose this series, I don't know if we can call them our little brothers down there anymore. So we better win this one.
Same to you guys. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, Rod. Thanks again. All right. Make sure you go follow Rod. He was being modest. This guy is, he's got his hands in a lot of different things down there, and he's a proud Canadian too. So go check him out. Yeah, pretty good guess. I want to get somebody on that had a little bit more insight to the Panthers besides us just hating on them. So it's set, right? I don't know if you noticed, I'm in playoff form. I brought back the party like it's 04. You can sub in 2000, 2001 in there too. I've got the playoff tie-dye hat back, and we're rolling in with it. I'm not taking these off until June, late June. All right, where do you want to go from here, Thomas Schooley? I got the NHL player poll pulled up.
You mean you didn't buy this shirt though?
No, the team's selling that at the team store.
Yes. Yes.
The decisions that this team makes sometimes boggles me. And I forgot to mention to you, we were telling fortunes tonight. You know what that means, Schooley.
We're doomed. Stephanie, no, they have not announced. They have been hitting Kachuk's playing game one, but they have not said. I think they're going to keep that, almost game time decision there.
They're all playing. They're all playing. Ekblad can't play for those first couple of games, but they're all playing. They're all going to be healthy. Hopefully, they're still a little banged up, so they're not 100%, but they're all playing. I can almost guarantee you. I'm more worried about Chafee, Glendening, and we know Bjorkstrand now is not going to be playing probably this entire series because he's week to week.
Right. And Chafee did practice yesterday. And I think, or not Chafee, Glendening practiced yesterday. And so I think he either goes tomorrow night in the finale against the Rangers or he'll be back for game one.
Yeah, and Chafee, I had not heard anything on him. If with him, it's probably going to be a head injury, concussion. So who knows with that?
They did call up Atkinson today, but it could be if Chafee can't go, it could be that they're going to try to rest somebody. The Lightning really do not have the luxury of resting anybody, so they could maybe rest one player or play short bench and go two with an extra D-man and get two forwards out of there. I hear Vasi will not play tomorrow. I'm not even it's going to be JJ and Net tomorrow night and against the Rangers. So,
and I'm hoping a heavy dose of Gage Gonzalez, and he's back. Connor Geeky. Both those guys played. I know we talked about it, playing against the B team of the Panthers, but both those guys were really, really good last night. So if they can,
Geeky got a goal on his first game back too, which was 2 games ago.
So I'd like to see them carry that momentum, get more ice time, maybe get another goal for Geeky and Gage. Why not? And have those two rolling into the playoffs because we definitely need some contributions. And I'm glad you said the same thing I was thinking about Yanni last night. I mean, I thought that first pass, that was a Cooch pass right there. I thought it was 100% Cooch. And then when they announced Yanni, and I was like, oh, Yanni came to play. And yeah, that was just the first goal of the game. So Yanni seems to be feeling it. Maybe his injury had lingered over and he wasn't fully back from it, and maybe he is now, hopefully. But with Bjorkstrand out, that's going to be a little bit of a hit for us. He never really kind of hit his stride with the Lightning just yet. But I swear that game last Friday against Detroit, he had one of his best games. So it's a shame that must have been the game he got hurt in. But yeah, hopefully if the Lightning can make it out of the first round, they'll see him sometime in round 2 or even round 3.
Ellen's got a point here. Marchand played. Do you consider him BT? I consider him an F team. Fuck you, Marchand. So yeah, no. They had to play a couple of their guys last night. There was going to be no way around that. And Marchand probably has the least amount of games played as a Florida Panther. So the other thing here, explain how it's Gonsalves. So it's the C, not a Z. It's not Gonzalez. It's Gonsalves. Trust me, for a while we had the wrong. We couldn't figure it out. Goncalves, Gonclaves.
We'll just call him Gage if that's okay. All right. So we were thinking that we're gonna have a Sunday game, right? Game 1's going to be Sunday. We won't hear till probably Friday. Maybe. Well, yeah, they probably won't announce it till Friday morning, right?
Right. Thursday night, Friday morning.
Very similar situation last season. I looked it up. We played game 1 on a Sunday, and we played the 12:30. The NHL loves to throw us in that freaking day game for the first round, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get the day game. Although somebody last night at the beer garden was saying they thought it was gonna. Was it Debbie thought it was gonna be 8 prime
No,
time?
I've heard 7, I've heard 4, I've heard 2, I've heard 1 o'clock. I spent this morning when I woke up deleting everybody that was saying, this is what time I'm here and this is what time I'm hurting. Because let me tell you something. If you asked the ushers last night, you got 1 time. If you asked the security last night, you got another one. If you asked the concessions people, you got another one. I got a message from what the ice crew was telling people, and it was a whole different time. So literally nobody knows. The arena has kept it hush hush. Originally, the food staff was told to plan on coming in on Saturday. Then it was no, because the Lightning play on Thursday, they will not play on Saturday. So then it started coming out. Okay, now they're being told to leave Sunday available to come to work, but nobody has the time. Even last night on my way home from the game, I was listening to Phil, and he was going nuts, saying it's stupid that they just can't announce the times. It is, the home teams, so you can announce. So what? The matchups aren't totally set, but who the home teams are. It's all but one team, I think, that still has to get put. Yeah, it's all but Montreal, possibly, or Columbus. So where these home teams are. Just go ahead and announce the times.
Yeah, so we'll find out soon enough, but it sounds like Sunday's definitely the day. Sorry,
Stephanie could be right. If Montreal wins tonight, they lock up that final spot, and every matchup will be set. There's no more guessing. Congrats to Marc-Andre Fleury, who's his final season got a chance to, in his final game, win it for Minnesota and get them in the playoffs. Not that they'll go far, but
no, they're not going to win the cup. Watch, someone's gonna pull this clip when they win the cup. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Bolts in 7 for this series, and I still really think that this series goes either way. You just look at the regular season between these two teams has been back and forth. They won, we won. They won, we won. We do have the advantage. We scored more goals on them than they scored on us. But if you just kind of look at everything with both of these teams, it's just so tight between the two of them. Even when we were just talking about, like, let's look at the offenses, let's look at the defenses, let's look at the goaltending. Those are all really tough decisions to make. So it doesn't make sense to me that this is going to be a sweep or any kind of blowout series. To me, it's
I go Bolts in 5. I say Bolts in 5.
Oh, you are high, Thomas Schooley. High.
I think they have came back and really started gelling with each other, and I think that they're getting their mojo at the right time. And we've seen in the past, when they have this kind of streak and this momentum going into the playoffs, it doesn't stop them. Last year, the year before, going into the playoffs, they had those kind of down years. They've had the injuries. They had kind of losing streaks going in. Oh, we don't care about these games. We just want to be in the playoffs. This year, it seemed like they were fighting for that playoff spot, fighting for second place, fighting for home ice. And I think they're just going at the right time on all cylinders, balls to the wall. And I think they get the Cats in 5.
Tate's with you. Tate says 5. I'm right, says 6. Stephanie says 6. So, yeah, I'm ready. I don't even want to watch tomorrow. I'm ready for playoff hockey. By the way, unofficial announcement, because we don't have all the details yet. But if you don't know, this is our last Wednesday night show of the season, because we shift into post-game shows for every playoff game. We've done that since we started this show in 2020. So you can catch us after the game. If you'd like to, you'll probably have the chance to join us after the game. I think we're going to have post-game parties for the home games, and they will be down the street from the arena at a location to be determined. But I won't say it yet because it's not completely locked in. So make sure you follow at We the Thunder Pod on X, or follow us on Facebook. Follow Thunderbolts because we'll post it in there too, to find out where we'll be broadcasting live, and hopefully you guys can come join us. Let the traffic die down after those home games, and then for the away games, we'll be probably here at our home spots, unless we're driving down for any games. Are we going?
No, I'm not.
No, I'm
not a chance in hell. I would not go down to Florida for a playoff game down there.
You're right. It'd be too easy to get tickets. I'd feel bad. So, all right. Anything else on the Panthers for now? Oh, by the way, we do need to sneak in and maybe even get Sonia on, because we have our preseason predictions that we have to go over with Sonia.
She starts driving 5 a.m. Friday morning, so everybody keep your thoughts for Sonia to be here for the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can somehow get her on, maybe do a one-off during the day or something to go over that, or maybe in between rounds we'll do that. But I haven't even looked at it, but it's always fun to go back and look at our preseason predictions at the end of the season. So we got to do that. But yeah, after every single game moving forward, not tomorrow night's game, but all these playoff games, we will be live. So stay tuned for that.
Yes, Serena, we will hand out work notes also to get you out of work the next day.
You didn't warn your work already? It's playoffs. Expect the unexpected. I did not have that conversation with my boss, because remember, I have a new job this year, so.
Yeah,
I don't think they know that what playoffs means around here. Hey, let's talk about this. Not that. Hold on. Sharing the wrong screen here. We'll change the topic up just a little bit. This would have been fun to ask Ron about too, and ask why no players show up.
How about the goal song going back to Goons?
How about what?
The goal song going back to Goons.
Yeah, I guess that's official. I mean, that started really last week, but it seems like they kept it. So Back to the Future. I don't like it. I think that's just lazy, but can't find anything new. But worked in the past, so can't blame them for it.
I remember in 2000. For the 2015 season where we lost to Chicago, the warm-up songs that they used to do, and they used to always tweet out or share their playlist for warm-ups. The very next season, when we started real shitty and they had different warm-up music, all of a sudden they brought back the previous year's warm-up music, and they were like, okay, we're going to do this until we lose again. And then once we won, I want to say 6 or 7 in a row. And then after that 7th win, we lost one. And then all of a sudden they went back to a whole new collection of warm-up music. So sometimes it's, hey, let's bring back the old until it doesn't work for us anymore. And bring back some of that, championship nostalgia to get things back in. And, it seems like the Bolts are starting to have fun. And that's what we saw in the 2 years that we won the Cup. So let's continue that.
As long as the goals keep coming. Play whatever song they want.
Yeah.
All right, the player poll. We've seen this the last couple years, and the Lightning have done very well on it. This was probably the most surprising one, Thomas Schooley. They poll all the players, and best overall goalie, which really statistically has been pretty clear this year and the last couple years, was Connor Hellebuyck. He finished in 3rd to the Russians. Andre Vasilevsky finishes in first, 31% of the vote as the best overall goalie. I wonder how much of that is just because he's just been so dominant this second half of the season. And it's a shame he hasn't overcome and taken first place on a couple more of those categories from Hellebuck, because he would have a really good shot at the Vezina. But I think just with Connor holding like what, 5 of the first place spots for stats, and his team winning the President's Cup, it's going to be Connor's trophy again. But Vasi gets the vote from his peers, and Igor right behind him at 23%.
And Vasi, and you see here Token and Stephanie are both saying because he's not a playoff goalie, he folds under pressure. But Vasi has gotten this like several times. Like, he is really respected by the players. And I forget, can you see right there? I forget how many players it says they pulled, 600, I think, or something. 685. Okay. So 600 players, and 31% of them thought Vasi was the best goaltender. So that tells you right there that Vasi is the best goaltender in the game. We were just talking about Bobrovsky. What is he? Is he fourth? Is that who's fourth there?
8.18%.
So I think Bobrovsky's more of the team in front of him, like we talked about their blue line there in Florida, that they have a really good blue line, and I think that's where Bobrovsky gets a lot of his from. I think Vasi has not had that blue line, and I think that's why some of the players taken because I believe he also gets in there about Kuch was the playmaker, but Vasi, I think, will change a game with his stops, and I think Igor does the same thing.
Yeah, and it is a crime Vasi in his career has only won 1 Vezina. That's an absolute joke.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Best forward, McDavid. You knew McDavid was going to win a couple of these categories. He did win best overall forward in a landslide, 73%. Best overall defenseman.
Go back. I think Kuch should have been in front of McKinnon there.
Maybe. Kuch does not get enough credit for his back checking, which is very noticeable when he does it, but I don't know if he's getting enough credit for his defensive play. He will, as you see, and as you probably already have saw, that get a little bit more credit for his offensive playmaking. Defenseman, you can't really argue with Cale Makar sweeping this one. That guy is good. He should be a forward. Quinn Hughes is probably going to take that spot in the next couple years. Hetty still holding on, 5.7, so he's still got a lot of respect from his peers in the NHL, and holding on to that third spot with Roman Josi. Jumped ahead of Josi. That's pretty good. And then Adam Fox. I was talking about Adam Fox with someone last night. Adam Fox kind of had 2 good years and has really dropped off.
Yeah, I think that's more of a product of the Ranger system and what's going on there. You're seeing a shit show going on there where players are trying to get out ASAP. There was the report coming out the other day that, the last home or one of the last away games or something, they're like, good, I can't wait to get out of here. So the Rangers are done. The players are over that team. And just, can you go real quick back one more? I just want to see these percentages. Like, what did McDavid do? So far, this is the highest percentage, right? No, McDavid has the highest percentage in any of the voting.
73.8.
Okay, that's all. I just want to see, out of all these, who had the highest percentage in all of them.
Most complete player, Sid the Kid, still holding on in his advanced age over Mr. Barkov, who we'll be seeing a lot of the next couple weeks.
Barely beating Barkov. And I think that's good, because I think Barkov is finally getting some recognition.
How'd this guy make it on the list? As a most complete player, Austin Matthews?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I put him in that. The rest of these guys all should be there. I don't know if I put Matthews.
He's tied. Who's the last one? I can't read it on your screen.
Anze Kopitar. Here, I'll zoom in for you old folks out there.
I think Kopitar is better than Matthews. Oh, so you take it further out. There you go.
Best playmaker. almost half the vote, Nikita Kucherov. Beating out McDavid, Draisaitl, Panarin, and Sidney Crosby. Can't disagree with this one, right?
No, and I like how much of a so far behind McDavid is on that one, because Cooch does those plays that are absolutely insane.
Yep. He likes to pass the puck, I think, even more than he likes to score goals. So there you go, Cooch. The players love you. I don't know if the league loves you yet. We'll find out who wins MVP. It sounds like Cooch, unless something crazy happens in the next 2 days, is going to win the Art Ross and get the most points because McKinnon's sitting. Did they confirm McKinnon's just sitting to the playoffs now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Cooch is going to win the Art Ross. Will he win the Hart? Which is the MVP? That is the $1 million question. He was robbed.
I think he gets it this year.
He had a better season last season, but I think this might be his turn, as they were saying last year about McKinnon. So
I think better season as in his scoring and stuff. I think this year better season as an MVP of sharing the puck and seeing the ice and being that playmaker that those 48% right there say. So I think he gets it this year.
yeah, and he can thank PK Subban for pumping him up the last couple weeks. So I'm a PK fan now. Didn't really like him too much before. If you need to win a face-off, who do you pick? I didn't realize Sidney Crosby was that great of a face-off man, but he got 20% of the vote. So there you go, edging out Ryan O'Reilly. So that's face-offs. Smartest overall player, just by a couple of percentage points, Sidney Crosby over Cooch. Yeah, I think you could have gave this one to Cooch. He's definitely got that high hockey IQ. But
I was shocked not to see Point on that list, because I think Point's hockey IQ is one of the best that could actually rival both those two also.
I won't disagree. Best overall skater. See, I think this is the list you put Point on, because where he started compared to where he is today and how he skates the puck is unbelievable, except last night when they did that little drop pass, because they like to drop it to him to bring it in, and then Marchand just steps right in front of him. And then they went down the ice and scored their only goal. But yeah, you can't really argue with Connor McDavid on this one. I probably would have put McKinnon above Makar there, but Makar's a great skater too. But I would like to see Point at least make it onto this list.
Is there anybody? I mean, it's shocking you didn't see some of the other players in some of these lists.
Well, you know who you didn't see? Very many Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
And then the most important category, which player has the best fashion sense? Pasta, Austin Matthews, Willie Nylander, all those players we love to hate are on this list. So I don't know if you pay attention to the stylish pregame. What do they Lightning do it too? They like take all their pictures as they're walking into the arena.
All of them do now, yeah.
But they don't do these like goofy ass outfits. Like, what is this?
Well, that was the awards last year.
Oh, these were probably all for like award shows and stuff. Who'd be a good broadcaster? This is kind of crazy because Hayes wins it with 4.85% of the vote. I think they just voted for their favorite player on the team. Patty Maroon, who is retired now, made the list. I don't know. Remember when they were kind of trying out Maroon when he was still playing for us, and they put him down there? I know we all thought he did pretty well, but he wasn't that great. But maybe it gets a little seasoning, gets a little practice, and maybe we do see Patty Maroon on ESPN or TNT in the future.
He's very monotone.
I didn't want to say anything while he was doing it that was negative, but I didn't think he was that good. Yeah, he didn't really have that broadcaster voice and charisma, but I'm sure he could get better at it real quick. I like this question. What PWHL rulebook change would you like to see in the NHL? I always get interested on what players would do and say about this because we kind of talk about these types of things on this show a lot. The jailbreak goal. So that is when a minor penalty ends if a shorthanded team scores. The Lightning would have been one of the most rewarded teams by this rule because I think we finished second in shorthanded goals. We had another one last night. But that would have erased the penalty in addition to giving you the goal. So the players like that rule. Also, the 3-2-1-0 point system got almost 25% of the vote. First place finisher chooses playoff opponent. That's a pretty interesting one. I have not heard before.
No, I think that's stupid though.
I like it. You get to pick who you play on the playoffs. That's your reward for getting that top seed. You get to pick. Be careful what you wish for. That would really throw a wrench in, those playoff brackets.
Could you imagine though, you pick in what you thought was the worst team and get swept or get bounced in the first round?
Yeah, careful what you wish for.
You'd be like, yeah, maybe I don't want to do that no more.
All right, the 86.4 shootout rule. Player is eligible at any time to take any number of shots as often as that shooting team chooses. Isn't that just the Oshie rule?
Yes.
Yeah, where when he played for you at Team USA, he shot all the shootout shots because he's good at them. And then the 1.8 goalkeepers area, no restricted goalkeepers area, which will be known as a trapezoid, will be enforced. So I don't like that rule because that means the goalies are going to play the puck way more and it will cut down on scoring chances. So we like our goals here at We the Thunder. Well, I don't know. Which one would you go with here as the top?
You think it would cut down on scoring chances, or you think it will keep the goaltenders in the nets?
No, you're getting rid of the trapezoid. So that means you're going to see, this is how they used to do it. That's when, who was the goalie that used to be all over the place? Was it Brodeur who used to skate around a lot and just get all the pucks in the corner?
Well, yeah, but then you saw more, team scuffles and line brawls and everything else. So I'm all for it. Let that goalie wants to go out there in the corner, check his ass into the corner. Don't leave your little zone. Don't put a little zone for him. That's his little safe buffer. And make sure you put soft hands. Just let him go.
Yes, thank you, Token Dave. Brodeur was the one who played those pucks in the corner so well. Which rule do you want if you could pick one?
The jailbreak, shorty.
Jailbreak. They've talked about doing that. I wonder if they'll try it out. We'll see.
I wonder if that's going to be part of the targeting chip in the next CBA.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it. Be interesting. Best ice: Montreal, Edmonton, Winnipeg, all up north. Las Vegas sneaking in at number 5. I don't know what they're doing. They got that dry air though, so maybe it's easier to maintain the ice. So that's it. Always fun to look at what the players are. Whoops, our producer sucks tonight, man.
It's like me trying to do it last week.
Yeah, I'm curious. That was funny last week. Yeah, I did not like broadcasting from the car last week. That's why we are finding a location to run to after the games. We can't forget to do the fortunes. I am kind of curious if anyone's out there still watching, what rule you would like to see implemented in the NHL. If you want to fill up the chat with that. What else we got, Schooley? I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that's happened the last week, but there's just been so much with playoffs and injuries and what did we?
Do we want to talk about the other playoff matchups?
No, I don't really care yet. I'd rather worry about that at a later time.
Well, we won't broadcast again until after game 1, right?
We will Sunday, and then we'll have we'll kind of talk about who's winning those series.
What do you think about that Alberta one, though?
Well, I saw Paul Bissonnette running his mouth about
Well,
the
yeah.
Lightning, the Panthers, and the Senators. So I'm really
Although
hoping.
he said doesn't have a chance, I hope they kick their ass.
Yeah, he does. He said on air he doesn't think the Lightning have a chance to beat the Panthers, and he doesn't think the Senators have a chance to beat Toronto. So I am desperately hoping for the Senators to upset Toronto just to see his reaction on TV and the social medias. So screw Biz and screw the Maple Leafs.
We had someone asking an Isaac Howard situation. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, we kind of talked about that for a second last week because it all happened on Wednesday. And after a couple of these injuries now, gosh, it'd be nice to have that extra body on this team for the playoffs. But I don't know. I don't know what the Lightning were thinking, not figuring out a way to sign him. I guess maybe they were thinking, hey, we don't want to mess with the chemistry of the team. We don't necessarily need you right now. And also the salary cap played a big role in what they could and could not do also. But
what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that they said you're going to AHL. And he thinks he is NHL ready and does not want to go to the AHL and will not go to the AHL. Here, Stephanie says he smells like Druin, and I think that's the same thing you're having here. Is that he believes he's NHL ready. I think had we had some cap space, like an LTIR that was going to work for 2 weeks or whatever, we would have brought him to the NHL and maybe he would have came. What they were offering him was, we do not have this much money, so we can sign you for Syracuse. And then, and when he heard AHL, he said deuces. So he unfollowed the Lightning on social. Will there be a trade rights? We're yet to see. Will there be a meeting of the minds in the off season? We'll also see about that.
Well, why would he sign with the Lightning now when he can basically be a free agent next summer?
Right. Well,
So
if
the
they
Lightning
offer
need
you,
to trade his rights and get something back for him. So
Yeah.
I think that ship sailed. I don't think we're ever going to see him play for the Lightning, which I don't know. I think it's a mistake for Lightning. I think they should have figured out a way to make him happy. We don't have that much in the pipe, although Syracuse did make the playoffs again. Apparently it's been 8 straight years for both Syracuse and the Lightning. And you said last week Syracuse was out, and I didn't say anything, but you
they were 1 point. They were 1 point. They needed 1 point. I didn't. Have they clinched now?
yeah, they're in.
Because as of yesterday, they had not.
Nope, they're in.
Okay. And the Solar Bears have clinched also.
Yeah. So I guess we got some good players like Connor Sheary waiting in the wings. But I don't know. I think it was a huge mistake because I think he is NHL ready and I think he's going to be good. But I know the Lightning also kind of have no nonsense for players that are kind of dicks. And
Right.
seems like-
They do not allow divas on the team.
yeah. So it is what it is. They need to make that move though. Trade his rights, get a draft pick, get something back for him. Don't wait it out because at this point, why would he sign with the Lightning? He can go sign with whatever team he wants next summer, and maybe win the national championship for Michigan State. So it sucks. I was looking forward to the Iceman playing for the Bolts, but might never.
Now I'm excited to see Duke.
Dylan Duke, he's our guy now. He's our prospect. Well, he won't get called up for the playoffs, will he? They'll call up Sheary and some of like Atkinson will be up here.
They usually won't call them until they're bounced out of the playoffs, until Syracuse is bounced out.
Okay. All right. Fortunes?
Sure.
Do you want I have all the fortune cookies. Do we want to do players or do we want to do just the team for this series, or do we just want to do the whole playoffs? This is a pressing question.
I was trying to see what people would say because I know they're on.
I don't think people like this bit, but we've been doing this for a couple years now. And by the way, when the Lightning win a playoff series, which has not happened in 2 years, we do a toast live, and everyone can join in. Connor says players. Connor, we like you, so we're gonna go with your suggestion here. The first fortune we will read will be for Andrei Vasilevsky. Sorry, Mike, you're too late. Got to be quick on the keyboard at this show. Andrei
He was too busy trying on his Ruda jersey.
Oh, dude, you should have done the whole team for the whole playoffs. Should have done the whole team for the whole playoffs. Vassie's prediction: victory is just around the corner. Oh man, Schooley. Should we just leave it at that? Should we just leave it?
That's it.
No more fortune cookies. That's the fortune right there. We can't ruin it.
Light it in 5.
Victory is just around the corner. Good job, camera. Way to fuck me up. All right, you got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Let me check my notes. Was there anything else we promised to talk about that didn't?
Listen, I never know what you tweet out. I never know what guests you book on. I never know what time we're going on. Like today, all of a sudden I saw the tweet saying we'll discuss at 7, and I went, 7 it is.
Well, that's what you get from an unofficial Lightning podcast. All right. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow us so we can let you know on, we think, Sunday where we'll be broadcasting after the game. If you're not downtown in Tampa, log in and join us virtually. If you are going to the game or just going downtown to watch the game, come join us. We're going to make this the unofficial after party of the playoffs, and where we will probably be will be just a couple blocks from Amalie Arena.
Can you get some free balsamic chips in the deal, please? Because that's what I eat from there.
It's all part of the negotiations.
Okay.
It's all part of the negotiations going on right now.
There will be a plethora of balsamic blue cheese potato chips at this place, hopefully.
We joke, but that is part of the negotiations. Is what we will eat there.
Listen, we make nothing off of this show. We spend a lot of our time, our stuff on the show, so it's nice to get something back from it. Hey, how many of these did you get? Did you get any extra last night?
I did, and if you join us at the watch after party, the unofficial playoff after party, I will have some of these to give out. I did not grab. I saw somebody posted they grabbed 30 of them. Thanks, dude. Did you leave any for the people that were leaving the arena last night? I have like 4. So, and I'm one of 30. Somebody posted on Facebook. I don't know if it was your group, but somebody posted they took one. The key feature on this is a coaster, by the way. The key feature, if you can see it, is the puck moves. It's a giant puck, though. So we do have some extras if you come out and join.
This was a pretty cool giveaway. I gotta admit, like I thought they were gonna be like some paper coasters when they were announced, but these were a pretty cool giveaway. So.
The only problem is, like, most large cups are bigger than this coaster. So, and then I was asking you and Debbie, I was like, weren't they supposed to give out the coasters this game? I was asking you guys at intermission, and Debbie's like, yeah, but they can't give them out before the game because you idiots throw them on the ice. I was like, that's a good point. That's why we don't have those thunderclappers anymore.
Could you imagine if it was 5-1 the other way? How many of those coasters would have been on the ice?
A lot of coasters, a lot of wasted coasters. Instead, some guy in Thunderbolts has about 45 of them.
I gotta find out who it was because I know someone messaged me trying to get one and was like, "I'll pay money."
Oh, Token Dave wants one. I don't do. You're gonna have to convince Schooley, Token. I don't do mail trips anymore. I've sent out enough crap in the past. But I usually will hold on to one and for future events too. For people that did not get one, I still have a spare replica 2020 ring in the box. I'm waiting for something that we do. So yeah, we got some cool stuff. You should see Thomas Schooley's car. You think these coasters are cool? All right. Well, I'm excited again. This is the last regular season show. This is the last Wednesday night show that we will do until next season, unless we have a game on Wednesday night. Everything we do moving forward, unless you hear otherwise, will be after each one of these playoff games. So make sure you come join us. I will probably open up the phone lines for some of these games because I know some people get real opinionated. As scary as that is, we don't always love to open up the phone lines, but I think I might do it for some of these games. And yeah, join us afterwards. Win or lose, we will be live to talk about hopefully more victories than losses. And I'm looking forward to bringing back that toast, whether it's a Diet Coke, whether it's water, whether it's whiskey. We need another toast on this podcast, which means that we are going to the next round of the playoffs. And I'm confident. I'm way more confident than I was the last 2 years in this team's ability to make it to the Stanley Cup final.
Sunday, Easter, and 420, and game 1. It's going to be a shit show at Emily.
Oh, I didn't think about it. I forgot it's Easter. Shoot.
Yes.
In 420.
Yes, it's going to be a shit show at Emily. You're going to have a whole bunch of high people carrying eggs around that they're going to throw on the ice if the Panthers win. So,
Well,
God,
he is don't let the
all
Panthers win.
yes.
You reminded me. I'm going to have to call my mother when the schedule comes out and maybe do some explaining.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are like freaking out about Sunday because of plans, Easter plans. And then there's people on the other spectrum that, 420 plans and they need to just get
You can do all those together.
so NHL, a bunch of pagans. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. It's all the same day. And so game 1, here we come.
All right, finally. It's such a long freaking season just for these next couple months. So yeah. I'm ready. Let's do it. All right, we will see you guys after game 1, and hopefully we will be smiling from ear to ear. Because if we lose that game, we will probably be frowning from ear to ear. Can you frown?
Not if I have my balsamic chips.
Yeah,
I'll be grinning no matter what. Food cures the soul.
Well, I'll be heavily drinking if we lose. I'm just kidding. Not on Easter. I'll be high as a kite, though. All right, we better go. Rod's probably tuning in again. He's like, what did I just join? All right, thanks again to Rod Peterson. Make sure you go check him out. Again, he was being pretty modest about his career. He's a serious broadcaster. If you follow the CFL, you definitely know who that guy is. And now he's down here in Florida doing his thing. So, and they do cover the Bolts. He did tell us that they're definitely way more leaning towards covering the Cats because they are down there, but they do talk about the Bolts a little bit. But you know where to go for Bolt stuff. You can find us on We the Thunder podcast. Until next time, this has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it?